My very last and most important piece of advice that I think actually goes with every aspect of anything you will do for yourself in life. And I'm going to explain it a little bit energetically because I think it's a really fundamental understanding of ourselves that we need to have. Now, I have examined a lot and done a lot of research on how energy affects our body. Everything that exists in the world has energy that is coming in or going out of it. Anything living, that is how we survive. It's energy. And we don't give a lot of credit to how we create and give and use energy in our body and in the world around us. But how it works in our body is very intriguing. And so that's part of why we're influenced by our outside world as well as nature, because everything that's going on out there is actually emitting energy that we can absorb. But we are also creating or using energy inside of us, obviously for our natural body processes, but just as signals through our body throughout the day. So we are also then emitting that energy out. So we want it to be as effective as it can be. Now, here's an interesting thing. We often think of using our brain, which is impulses, which is energy that runs through our brain as well as the rest of our body. But we think of our brain as the only tool to help us deal with anything, process anything that's thinking or working on our behalf. But it's actually not totally true. They've proven that most of our organs actually have their own brain. And one that's very fundamental is our heart brain. And they're also starting to examine that how our heart brain operates is much closer to our natural instincts than our mind is. So this is interesting in the aspect that when we're talking about beliefs and information that we receive, that's really absorbed through our mind. So sometimes these beliefs we have that aren't true, or cultural ideals that we learn and gather from the outside world that may not be exactly true for us, they're received through our mind brain. And so everything we think through after that has a bit of a filter that goes through these things. But here's the cue. Our heart doesn't have that same filter. So our heart brain operates more on the natural laws and the instinctive, intuitive processes that we have in our body. And even more interesting is that frequency of energy that we have going on out in nature that makes us feel so relaxed and so calm and seems to give us energy is actually a similar frequency of resonance with our how and when our heart brain operates more effectively. So that's a lot that you probably don't really need to know, but I find it important to tell people because it's a bit of a justification for how our heart brain operates in a very instinctual, loving, supportive way. So sometimes going to our heart is the best place for us to go to get a really true, honest answer that is best for us. Because when we're processing everything through our brain and trying to imagine all the stuff that we've been told all of our life that may not be the most important source for us to filter this through, or it may be based on other people's beliefs that aren't exactly true for us, or it may be even based on some false information or misunderstood information. We're always filtering everything through there. So sometimes it's nice to stop. And when you can develop that presence, you can actually engage your heart brain to ask it for guidance and answers. And I often tell people there's energy soaring through your body. So to actually take your hands, whether it's one hand or two, and put it on your heart, you automatically engage that energetic circuit that's going through you. And so really what you're doing is you're putting an emphasis. You're getting all your sensory to go to your heart. You're getting an energetic cycle that is pulsating through your heart a little bit stronger. And just say to yourself when you're in that presence, what is it that my heart needs right now? What is it that I need right now? And there is where you will always find the answer of what you love. And in what you love is some of the most intuitive, instinctual answers and guidance that you will ever receive for yourself. So when the outside world feels like too much, and when it feels like you can't figure anything out for yourself, or your brain and mind is all over the place, and you just don't know which way to turn, you can't make decisions, nothing seems clear, your heart is where to go. And so you can take this further with anything. When you're struggling with eating, ask yourself, what do I love? What do I love to eat that is good for me? When you don't feel like working out, just say, what does my body love to feel like? Maybe you change the exercise that you do, or you just do stretching and yoga, or you feel like going for a walk. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't feel like working out, and I'm so frustrated with myself for not working out, say to yourself, put your hand on your heart and say, what would I love to do right now for myself, for my physical well-being? It may be going for a nap, but your heart will tell you what you need. It will always tell you what is in your best interest. And so when things feel overwhelming about something someone said to you in the outside world, or what you've been saying to yourself in your own brain, or when you just feel like work is too much, or you can't handle this, or you can't seem to get this going right, or you're so disorganized, or just don't have the energy to do what you need to do, just say to yourself, what would my heart tell me? What do I love? What would be loving for myself? Loving is always the answer. It's always the first step to getting us back on track. So never be afraid to stop. Stop the conversation in your head. Stop the self-talk that may be berating. Take a moment, acknowledge how you feel, acknowledge that that feeling is yours to recognize and then let go. And say to myself, I'm going to take care of myself. What do I need to do? And the answer, when it is the most challenging that you could ever imagine, is always, what is my heart telling me? What do I love? What is loving? What is loving myself? What would I love to do to help myself? Is always where the best answer lies for you. So when the world feels like too much, just remember, love always holds the answer for yourself.